Hi, this is Mark Littleton, the minister of the Word for the Athens Church of Christ, with today's 3-minute sermon. For the last couple of weeks, we have been focusing on Psalm 91 in the Old Testament. It's a psalm where God makes some promises to us that I think are so precious when we think about the times in our lives where, quite honestly, we struggle with loneliness. Right now, with everything going on in our world, loneliness for a lot of people is a huge issue. But the promises of God meet us right in the midst of our loneliness. Every day we've been looking at one promise from God in Psalm 91, verses 14 to 16. Today I want you to look at what God says in Psalm 91, verse 15. At the end of the verse, God says, "I will rescue him and I will honor him." God's promise to you and to me in the midst of our pain and our struggle and our loneliness is, if we know him and if we belong to him through his son Jesus, he will honor us. Now, what does it mean for God to honor us? Well, it's an interesting word in the original language of the Old Testament. It was a word that most of the time was translated honor. Sometimes it's a word that's translated glory or glorious, talking about the glory of God. But then interestingly, about 20 times in the Old Testament, this particular word in the Hebrew is translated as heavy. You say, Mark, what significance of that is that? Well, think of it this way. When God says to you and to me, I will honor you, what God is saying is, you have significance with me. You have weight with me. You are heavy when I think about you. You matter to me, in other words. Sometimes, quite honestly, we feel like we don't matter to much of anyone, don't we? Certainly we don't matter to God. We feel like a number. We feel like we're just lost in the crowd. Maybe in your family, for whatever reason, you feel like you're not understood and you don't have any significance. Maybe at your workplace, you really feel like you're a number or a paycheck, right? And you don't feel like you really matter and you don't have any weight. Listen, I've seen it as a minister. Sometimes at church, we don't want people to feel that way, but sometimes people at church feel that way. Preacher, I don't really have any weight or significance there. I kind of float in, float out. Nobody really notices me. Listen, I want you to hear me clearly today. Whatever else may be happening in your life, however you may be feeling about things right now in your life, you matter to God. You have weight with him. You are significant to him. You are so significant to him, he would send his son Jesus to die on the cross for your sin so that you could be with him forever. And he would have done that if you were the only person in the world that needed to be saved from his or her sins. That's how much God loves you. And so my challenge to you today, friend, is if you're feeling lonely today, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed today, remind yourself God has said, I will honor him. You matter to God. Lord willing, tomorrow we will look at another promise that God makes us when we're lonely on another 3-minute sermon. God bless.